Good morning, YouTube. I thought I would make a quick video to share the next project going up on Etsy. I had been busy with a custom order, and while I was doing the custom order, I had my brain working on the next thing that I wanted to do, and one day this just popped into my head, and so I got to work on it as soon as I was done with the other one. This is another in the series of my favorite famous people. This man was not only a painter and a poet and a mathematician, but he was an inventor and just an amazing, amazing human being. And so, of course, Leonardo da Vinci. And this is another hardback covered with fabric. I put Mona Lisa on the front. I thought and thought and thought about what to put on the front. Leonardo da Vinci was famous for so many things, but I just thought her image was beautiful. And I had it printed out on that linen canvas texture, so it kind of looks like a painting. At least I think so. And then down here, I put one of my favorite Da Vinci quotes at the bottom. And that has all been sealed in with an artist medium. Behind the painting is this open weave textile. And I did some sewing around. I almost didn't. I thought, no, leave her alone, leave her alone. But she just looks so plain. So there I did. I went and sewed around the edges a little bit. On the spine, we've got some ivory silk sari ribbons and some burlap twine. There are some gears, of course, and a blank metal tag and some chains. But here's a good look at the fabric. Beautiful fabric. It's a rich, rich, thick fabric with the black background and then the gold pattern. Oh, I just love it, love it, love it, love it. So I thought this was kind of Da Vinci-like, right? No, Da Vinci would have had something super cool. This is not Da Vinci's. This is just, you know, this is just like inspired by his work, I would say. But anyway, let's go to the inside. This journal has, I think, 160 pages. Maybe a little more. On the inside, there's going to be a lot of sewing again. There's going to be a lot of his artwork and a lot of his quotes. Make sure I'm in frame here, guys. Okay. So here in the front, there's a burlap and sari ribbon, a little pocket here with a little tag clipped on, and one of his pieces of art goes right there. There's a little tracing paper window with a tag and one of his flying machine drawings. And then you'll see some different kinds of textiles and different things sewn on. And a lot of sewing in the tails left. And this is a piece from the front cover. And another quote. There'll be lots of tags or clips and whatnot up at the top. There's going to be beautiful tea-stained papers, lots and lots of pockets. Here's another quote with a tracing paper window and a metal brad down here on this sheet music. And another piece of artwork. Some lined paper and some ledger. Another one of his drawings. I thought his drawings were just as magnificent as his paintings, and so I put a little bit of both in here. Put my favorites in here. There's I couldn't think of the word. Encyclopedia page. I'll fold it up in this pocket right here. And some of the studies he did on the horses. I had this. I think it's Tim Holtz tissue tape, right? If I'm wrong, please correct me. But how Da Vinci was that with all the gears and workings and stuff? So I kind of tuck some of that in some places. There's one of his drawings and a quote down here. Another tracing paper window with a tag. Here is another one of my notebooks that I sew onto the page. And this one has a baby pocket in the front and it's all sewn. So, but there's the notebook and it's got some tea stain pages in there. And another quote. And a pocket. How beautiful is the staining on that tag? Sometimes you get works of art without even trying. That was serendipitous for sure. There's one of the Christ Child paintings that he did. The beautiful colors that came out on these printings was spot on. So here is some, so Michelle Mooney does such a better job. She makes these gorgeous paper ruffles. And I've sewn textile ruffles to pages for, ever since I've been starting sewing in journals. But I was watching one of her older videos a couple of weeks ago, and she does these cool paper ruffles. And I thought, why am I not sewing paper ruffles? So thank you, Michelle, for your ingenuity and your inspiration. And your ruffles are so much better than mine. But I think it's fun to add some texture and whatnot. So thank you, Michelle. And if you haven't seen Michelle Mooney, she is the Paper Addiction. If you have not seen her channel, you find it and you pop some popcorn and you sit down for a good long watch because that girl is incredible. There is some neat, just some lined paper here, just some accounting paper. There's going to be just different kinds of papers that I've added in here. You can see how this is different. It's like a parchment. Like a textured parchment. I loved his anatomical drawings, especially of the skull. Very cool. Here's another pocket with some, all sewn with some Da Vinci tape. That's what I'm going to call it from now on, Da Vinci tape. Another beautiful tag. It looks like marble. So let's hope that happens again. Another one of these paper ruffles and a quote down here all sewn on. And then on the other side, I've got that open weave fabric that I sewed onto the edge for some interest. Another, tracing paper window with a piece of his artwork on the inside and some of the fabric sewn up here in a quote on this page. Here is a pocket. So lots of interest in this one too. Some more anatomical drawings. Another pocket here. Lots of interesting things to look at. There's the Bacchus painting. Love that one. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Here is a fold out. And another sewn pocket right here. And one right here. I think this was Peter, the Apostle Peter, I believe. This was supposed to be a drawing of him. I will have to, I thought so, but I could be totally off on that. Another quote here. Another pocket with some little baby tags and a bigger tag in the tracing paper window. Here's some baking paper that kind of came out kind of polka dot, and I sewed that on the edge with one of his horse drawings there. There's a big slip pocket here, all sewn on. There's another tracing paper window with some fabric sewn on, so there's a tag and then one of his anatomical drawings, and behind it is a very old encyclopedia page. Another fold out. And of course, could not leave out the Last Supper. That was in there. Along with a quote on this beautiful tracing paper. There is another skull drawing. Some tracing paper with the Da Vinci tape. Another drawing here. It's a collage of a couple. Another window with a pencil drawing of, I think this one's called the Christ. So that just tucks in there. There's another quote. Some drawings. And then a place to slip things in here. And then on the back I've got this envelope sewn on, but I left it open between the page and the envelope. I sewed this silk sari ribbon to the edge, and then it opens up and there's a place in here to tuck things, and then there's also this pocket as well. And then on the back we have this pretty aged muslin pocket with a little tag clipped on. So, guys, there is Da Vinci. I hope you like it. I do. I really like this one. I love the richness of the fabric and how this painting printed out so nicely and all the quotes. So I hope you like it as much as I do. I've got a couple more things. One thing is finished. It's a smaller journal, and then I have the second of the Victorian Ladies Handbook. The second one of the series is about halfway done, but I didn't want to jam them all into one video because it would take forever and you'd get so bored. So I'll put those two in a separate video when I get done with the handbook. And so I hope everybody is having a great weekend. Stay safe, and thank you so much for stopping by and checking out Da Vinci. And I'll catch you guys next time. Bye, guys.